Welcome to Hear It Here, where we focus on the highlights of bluegrass. This week we have Troy Strangle of Stoney Creek Bluegrass Band and Bill Dailey, songwriter, as our guest. Troy credited for the arrangement and Bill credited for lyrics. Both are here to talk about the new single, Miner's Life by Stoney Creek Bluegrass Band. Troy, I want to welcome you to Hear It Here, and Bill, thank you for joining us as well. We're excited to talk about this new single, but before we get into the song and all of the stories about this song, Troy, I want you to tell us about Stoney Creek Bluegrass Band and your part in the band.
Well, I've been with Stoney Creek for about 5 years now. I just went up to sit in with them one day. They needed a banjo player, so it's been a pretty good, thing going for, I'd say it's 5 years. I hope I'm right on that. I know it's been at least 5 years. So dobro, banjo, do some vocals. Those guys do the biggest part of the vocals, but I just kind of do some harmonies. But I just try to fill in the gaps with all the lead stuff. So.
Well, who are all of the members of Stoney Creek? Because some of our listeners may not be familiar with the band.
Libby Fowles is she is the owner of the group. But she plays bass and does vocals. And then we have Red Catlett. He does a lot of the harmonies, and he's wrote a lot of tunes too. So encourage listeners to get on our Facebook page, and you'll see quite a many of those. So Red Catlett does that, and then Brett Smeltzer, he does the mandolin and vocals. Anyway, then I do the banjo and dobro work on it. And we have our own sound person, Aaron Kilmer, and does an excellent job with all that. Pretty much that's the group, and they're all in the Hedgesville area of West Virginia. I'm the only one outcast. I'm in Maryland. That's pretty much the band.
And I know Stoney Creek has been together for quite some time, and for you being part of the band, I appreciate you taking the time to do the interview, and there is a reason behind that. We'll get to that in just a little bit. Bill,
sure.
Again, thank you for being here with us today. Now,
I appreciate it. Yeah.
You wrote this song, Miner's Life.
Yes, I did.
And I know there is a lot of history behind this song for you in particular, so tell us the inspiration behind writing this.
Well, the inspiration came from my father, who, of course, was a coal miner, and his father, my granddad, practically everyone that I was around that was grown-ups worked at the coal mines. So in those days, it was pretty much coal mines or lumber. And it just so happened that on my side, it was coal mines. The song was basically inspired. My grandfather had a band back in the 30s and 40s, and they were called the Elk Creek Ramblers. And they played all around. Of course, I got started listening. I guess I was probably about 10 years old, and on Friday nights, we'd all gather over at Grandma and Grandpa's, and they would be practicing or just playing around, and most kids were out playing, and I was listening to the music and learning the music, and also learning how to play the guitar. My aunt actually taught me how to play. And, of course, just listening to the songs, being around the coal mining industry, seeing what it does to the families and how hard it is on, back in those days, a struggle. There wasn't a whole lot of money to be made there, but there wasn't a whole lot of other things to do. So you pretty much was a coal miner, which I say something about that in the song. Now, when I was writing the song, I had probably 8 verses to this song and probably could have wrote more because once it started, it just kept flowing. I would just think of other things and other stuff pop into mind and whatever. So finally, when it boiled down to it, got to figure this thing out to be around 3 minutes, Bill. So that's what happened. I had to kind of pick and choose through it. Back when Troy and I was basically arranging the song with the Nickel Misery Band, Troy was just picking up the dobro. He was playing banjo in the group Nickel Misery pretty much. You got to give this man a lot of credit. He won't give it to himself, but he's a real professional musician and a great person. And he just picked up on what I was looking for in the song, and we arranged it the way we thought that it would sound real good. Performed the song some with the group, but Troy had to play the banjo on it just because it would take too long to switch out the instruments. So as far as that goes, and the song itself, it was inspired by what I said, living and being there involved with it, and my father and grandfather and all being coal miners. It's just something that I wanted to tell the people, or try to tell the people, just about kind of how tough it is, because you're pretty much owned by the company store. That was what inspired it. Then when I got with Charlie Waller, and my wife and I were sitting on the bus one day and just picking this song and singing it. And Charlie's in the back of the bus, and he comes up and he said, "Where did you get that?" And I told him that I wrote the song. And he says, "Man, oh man," he said, "I really like that. Would you mind if I recorded it?" Well, I about fell backwards off the bus seat. Who's going to say no to Charlie Waller? You talking about a dream come true?
I'm sure.
I mean, there's a bucket. I mean, anyone that's ever been involved in bluegrass or has listened to it and hasn't heard Charlie Waller and the Country Gentleman, then they're not listening. So
that's right.
That was a great moment in my life, that when he decided that he wanted to record the song. Now, as far as you was mentioning there earlier about the arrangement and how the difference was in that arrangement, Charlie, he wanted it a little bit more upbeat, and Eddie Edcock, which you well know, he played with Charlie for a long time, and of course he and Charlie were good friends. He's the one that actually produced the album, and we cut it down in Mount Airy's at Lou Easter Studios, and he wanted the song, Eddie, a little more like the upbeat style. So I said, "I don't care what you do or what style, as long as that record is going on that album, I don't care." So then, by it being that style, it was just a little different. We decided that the boys would split up the vocals rather than Charlie have to try and learn all the words and things. Kind of split it up, and then they did the harmonies and stuff together, which I would like to mention that on this new recording that they have put together, it's just a wonderful arrangement. The harmonies are good. And like I said, Troy just will not give himself enough credit, but that dobro just puts you in the mood for that song. And if you don't feel it, something's wrong with it.
I do believe that the dobro is the one instrument that it can add the eeriness to any song if you need it, where the other instruments just don't quite do the same thing.
You're absolutely right.
My aging dad before me, my brothers all in line. When I turned 17, I went down in the mine. A battery lamp upon my head, steel toes upon my feet. Dinner bucket in my hand with bread and potted meat. My lungs are filling every day with dust they call black death. You think of it, don't say you don't each time you take a breath. You know you have to stay down there, there's nothing else to do. When you have no life above the ground, what's a miner's son to do? But living in West Virginia, you only got one goal. Burrow underneath the ground and dig the old black coal. The job, you eat the dust, you pay back all your debts. The company store bills caught up, I guess you've done your best. When the doctor calls, he has the news, your tests have all come back. There's no more underground for you, your lungs have both turned black. The years passed, the miner died, they laid him in the ground. His son looked down upon a grave in a churchyard above town. Dad, I know I promised you those words cannot hold true. When the whistle blows at 5 o'clock, what's a miner's son to do? But living in West Virginia, you only got one goal. Burrow underneath the ground and dig the old black coal. Burrow underneath the ground and dig the old black coal. Burrow underneath the ground and dig the old black coal.
Kind of stepped back out of music here for a while. My health's not been the best, and when he asked me to do that, it just it kind of lit a spark up in me again, and they put this video together, and I think that people will really enjoy it, and I think they'll also get the feeling of the song and how it relates with the video. They've done just a wonderful job, and I'm glad to be a part of it, and gladly to let them to record this song, and I'm just, like I said, glad to be a part of it. I hope it does well for everyone.
Yes, sir.
Well, Troy, I want to go back to you and talking about the Nickel Misery Band. At that point, when you had done the arrangement with Bill, had you done anything like that before?
Well, I do a lot of that with Stoney Creek. I played with a gospel band before I got with them called All For Him Bluegrass Band, and I helped a little bit with that, but not so much as with Stoney Creek. And, of course, with Misery, we did, too.
I'm going to interrupt. Going to interrupt you, because here he goes again. When we were playing with the Nickel Misery Band, Troy would sit down and come up with arrangement on something, and he'd say, "Hey, Bill, what do you think about this? What do you think about that?" So I'm not letting him get off easy, because he deserves credit on a lot of that. He can take something that's nothing and make a whole lot out of it. And I'll put that in there, and I'll try to shut up. But when credit comes, I'm going to say it, and the man deserves it. He does have the knack, I guess you say. But sorry, Troy.
Well, no, that's okay. I mean, I get it. I come up with ideals, and even with Stoney Creek, I come up with ideals. But it really, the whole band has their effort in it. It's a band effort. It's not just one. And so I just want to make sure, clarify that, because I think that's what makes a band, and makes a band go places, is everybody puts 100% into it. And I'm just there to try to make a difference, try to make it sound the best we can.
Bill, going back to the original recording, I think we should mention the similarities. And Troy, share your thoughts with us on this as well. Charlie passed away August 18th, 2004. The album was not released until after Charlie's passing, and that would have been August 31st. What do you think on almost irony that Stoney Creek releases this song August 28th?
I'll tell you something. It really kind of gives you a little bit of the heebie-jeebies because of it being that close. And what you said, I did not think of that until it was brought. I think Brett is probably the one that actually brought it up. Troy and I was discussing it, and it's an eerie little feeling, but it's fantastic. And in what you're saying, the song never got the chance or the opportunity with Charlie's release on the American Spirit album, because we never got to promote it that much. Now, after Charlie had passed and the album was released, we continued to promote it as a group and finished out all the venues that we had booked, of course, as the Country Gentlemen. And it was another year before we finished up everything that we had booked. And then Randy tried to continue with the band after that. A little tough for him to follow, but he had promoted the song some too, but it never really got the promotion that I feel that the song needed. And I'm hoping that with this new sound and new arrangement, and it's really, really nothing against the Country Gentleman at all. It was great, but this is closer to what Troy and I sat down up at the old farm at Siler and kind of came up with. This was more of the of that lonesome type deal, the sound of a coal mine. And a lot of people may not pick it up, but maybe they can start listening. In the background, he's got the little tinker hammer, the hitting the a little tink, and to me, boy, that just brings out a little more of the old lonesome, damp coal mine type. People don't realize it, just how tough that world, well, not only is. That's changed a whole lot from 3 foot coal to 5, 6 foot coal. But just try to imagine going to work and working all day in 3 foot coal. You never got to stand up. People don't think of those things.
Well, Bill, did you work in the coal mines as well?
I had promised Dad that I was never going to coal mines, but I did go in for a while as an engineer. And I really liked the idea, and I liked what I was doing. I just could not take the underground, what I was talking about there, the closeness, you're talking about claustrophobic. You got to be a special person to live that life. And And it really is. It was not for me, and I didn't. It was good money. Now, don't get me wrong, but that's not everything. I couldn't. So his will did come through. I didn't go in the mines, and by the way, Dad was still alive when I pulled out of that mine, and that was a wonderful day for him. He didn't want me there in the first place. But that's the inspiration of the song is like what I said, by, the family and how they, I kind of did the brothers in line thing. A lot of the stuff is to make things rhyme better, but there's so much truth in the whole song with the company store and the things of sort. And I had other verses too that explained other little things, like on the video, you'll see me walking down this path, and that's why Dad had to go to work. He had to walk down the path and then back up, regardless of what the weather was like. About, I think it was probably about 1.5 miles down to where the coal mines was back when he was working. But it's a tough thing to actually be there and do it. It's a tough thing to talk about. I don't. Their mom and dad's all passed away, and my uncles and everything, and of course. I don't have any family now in the coal mines, and I kind of like that, not having to worry about them, because it is a dangerous place. But all in all, I wrote the thing to kind of hopefully get a little education out to some of the people that don't know, and by the way that Stoney Creek put this thing out there and the way that they're promoting, and I think it's really got a good chance, and I pray that it does, and helps them along, and also helps educate and get the people knowing this band and knowing the people, because they're real people. And like Troy said, you got to have real people that work together and become a family, and that's why they call it a band here. And they've got that, and I promote as hard as I can, and like I had said earlier, you'll have to cut me off because I'll just talk and talk.
Oh, my goodness. Well, you've got a lot of story to tell in regards to this, and that's why it's kind of hard to actually cut you off. Brett had told me a little bit in regards to going down in the coal mines. I guess you had shared it with him. No clothes, just down to briefs or whatever, and in such an enclosed area. I can't imagine having to deal with that day in and day out for work. I like the advantage of being able to roll out of bed, turn on the computer, and here I go.
I'll tell you, I think the first image of people thinking about it, they're not picturing of what I was saying. These people worked at coal seams that were 27 inches, 30. Dad said that it was high cotton when they got in 36-inch coal. And most of his entire life, he worked anywhere from 27 to, I think he said about 42 inches, and that was just the coal seams that's along down through in this part of West Virginia. You get a little farther north, and the different seams, you get into the higher coal, and it's around, but back then they didn't have the proper machinery to dig it out right, and a lot of all that was done by hand. It was tough life.
Well, part of that is portrayed in the video in regards to the song and the story, and then we have the video. And I want to make mention that the premiere of the video, it's being shared all over the world today thanks to Bluegrass Music TV and Bluegrass Life. They are partners of the Bluegrass Jamboree, and I know so many people are going to be taking a look at this video today. It's also going to be on Stoney Creek Bluegrass Band's Facebook page. That's one of the social media outlets that Stoney Creek has. Troy, if you will, tell us a little bit more about how to keep up with Stoney Creek Bluegrass Band.
You can get on the StoneyCreekBluegrass.net or Stoney Creek's Facebook page, either way, and that'll pretty much let everybody know where we're playing. And there's some videos on there as well as this one coming up. Hopefully people can enjoy, and a lot of those are actually our own Kenton Catlett wrote some of those songs, and they give us some more different types of material that we do. So hopefully encourage, people to get on that and give us some feedback. Other than that, maybe we have our shows listed. Of course, this virus has kind of messed us up a little bit, on our shows this year, but we will have some coming up here now, it looks like. And I can certainly, you can go on the website and see all that. So they usually keep that up to date.
If you've got shows that are coming up, I do direct everyone to go to the website or to the Facebook page and make sure you keep up with Stoney Creek Bluegrass Band. You're a busy band when there's no viruses going on. Even doing all the videos, I want to make mention, Aaron Kilmer, he has been a huge asset for the band in doing these videos. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about where he traveled just to get this footage for Miner's Life.
We did the videos at right there. And actually, the video was done in Berkeley County in Back Creek Valley, and it's at the historic Meadow Branch coal field. Additional filming occurred down in Virginia along Clinch River and at the Wilderness Road Blockhouse near Duffield, and at the Clinch Mountain Big Moccasin Gap near Gate City in Weber City. So he had some shots there. There's even a shot of the we even did some up in Paw Paw, West Virginia, around C&O Canal. Try to get some better fills of stuff where people would kind of get to feel the whole thing. Basically, that's pretty much the areas we did the filming in.
Well, he seems to have a lot of knowledge when it comes to what these videos need. I've seen quite a few of your videos, and I enjoy them. It's always very entertaining. Thank you for doing the work behind this song. And appreciate that. Yeah, I've got to know what inspired you out of all the songs that are available, all the country gentleman songs. Why this one? Because this is a song. Miner's Life is one that has not been covered.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess the biggest thing, of course, that was Bill and I, being friends for a long time, played in his band. It was just something just came to me. We wanted to release a single, and I don't know why. I just thought about that song, and I thought, that would be a great song. Because we're a West Virginia band, and you don't hear much about the coal mines, like Bill said, and there's still people that has to work there in those coal mines. I remember playing some shows with Bill up in Richwood, and we were playing for Nickel Misery, and I actually seen people getting out of their cars after work, black and stuff from suet from the coal mine. So, with all that, I asked him, I said, hey, would you guys take a look at this song, take a listen, and, see if you'd be interested in doing this. I'd like to bring it back. And I said the only difference would be I'd kind of like to do it like Bill and I arranged it back, probably late 90s when we did that. When we just decided to put it together, and it came together pretty good. That's kind of the story behind it.
Well, I applaud you all, Bill, for doing a great job on the lyrics. And since you have so many other verses to go along in the song, kind of like Bringing Mary Home, I think you need to do a second. Why not? You've got the material. Just carry on with it.
It's funny you would say that, because you're not the only one that has brought that up. I had, from time to time, I may be playing a song, setting around or whatever, and I'll throw another verse in there like, well, where did that come from? I say, well, it's just one. It's just one that never got on the song. I only had 3 minutes, so I had to cut out but that has been a thought. And let's see how this goes, and if the response is there, I would gladly work with them and see if we couldn't come up with a part two.
Sure.
But that's always, and that's the one thing about a bluegrass musician, when you was asking there, Troy, about the song and selection. If you've played with certain bluegrass bands or members and whatever along the way, there's a part of you that's always going to be there. And I think that comes true with Troy. I think that he knew how hard that we really did work on that song back when he and I was putting it together pretty much. Yeah. And he also knew that it didn't really get justice on the airplay when it came out for Charlie. I think there would have been a big difference in the response if we could have promoted the album, but it just never got done. And I think the Lord planned it that way. He planned it for Troy to bring it out, and now everyone can enjoy it pretty much in the way that we wanted the song presented.
Yep.
And Bluegrassers like to stick together. They're a great bunch of people, and we're always looking for more of them. And I think that this will be a good inspiration, like you said earlier there, getting these new people involved in the bluegrass world, and teaching them and learning them some of the old stuff, like by bringing this song back. I just feel real good about it.
Yes, sir.
Well, again, I applaud you all. The song is wonderful. I am expecting it to do really great things for Stoney Creek Bluegrass Band. Thank you again for taking time to talk to me and sharing all of this with our listeners. It's the stories behind the songs that really give them life. And with this time today, that's exactly what the both of you have done. You've helped give Miner's Life by Stoney Creek Bluegrass Band such a wonderful new life.
Yep.
I'll tell you, thank you so much for that, because you hit it 100% on the nail head. It's a lot of the tunes, people don't take the time to listen to some of the words and or get the feeling of where the depth, where the song came from. And hopefully, maybe by us doing this, and thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to do this and help promote this for the Stoney Creek Band.
Yeah, we certainly appreciate all the music, the Bluegrass Jamboree. We want to thank everybody that's going to play it or will play it.
Absolutely. Well, again, thank you guys so much. Have a blessed day, and we look forward to the second song continuing on the story of a miner's life.
Sure, yep.
Well, fantastic. Thank you, Stoney Creek.
Absolutely, Bill. Yeah, we're glad to bring it back out. And Annette, thank you again for getting us out there. We really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yes, Annette, I surely do. And you have a blessed day also.
Thank you. You too.